Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started the Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. Afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and to share their experience and knowledge with you. I hope you enjoy it. Well, Foivos, welcome to the podcast, man. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. Lovely Sunday morning.
Indeed it is. And I'm glad to have you here because you have so much to share. The podcast will be focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? And how did you know this was the way to go? So tell us what you do for a living.
What I do for a living. So I am a full-time master's degree student in the University of Aalborg. And currently I'm conducting a 6-month internship as a part of my studies in a company called Blue World Technologies that specializes in methanol fuel cells. I am working part-time as a kitchen assistant, as a student job, and currently me and a classmate of mine are working in a startup idea that maybe we can explore and expand a little bit more.
We definitely will. Not only that, once we're done with the interview, you can give me a link if there is such existing, and I can put it in the description below when I upload the video.
That would be great. Yes, actually, right before you called me, I just created the LinkedIn page for it, so it's gonna be fresh out of very fresh. Yes, just good timing.
As long as it's out there, it should be pretty good because once you have the link, you can basically build on it. So you know that's how I did it with the program, and I've always admired that. That doing on my own thing and you know having something on the side. Now having a 9-to-5 job is awesome. It's well not only awesome, it's pretty much mandatory if you are to support yourself because there isn't any other way. You know there is, but yeah. This inner hustle, inner desire to have something on the side, something that's yours, something that you've built, that's pretty good. I think that's actually embedded in us like genetically. So it's pretty awesome to see it. It's pretty sad when I'm not seeing it. So I'm really happy to have you here. You also went through an education for a mechanic, as far as I know.
Yes, my background is mechanical engineering, and I studied in my home country, Greece.
Can you speak a little bit louder for me, please?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, way better.
Okay.
You were talking about your mechanical background?
Yes. My bachelor's is mechanical engineering, and I studied in Greece. And currently, I'm located in Denmark, and I am in energy engineering with a specialization in fuel cells and hydrogen.
And this is very interesting because engineering is, you know, basically, I think those are the three professions: engineering, doctors, and lawyers. You don't really study it and afterwards working on it if you're not really drawn into it. You can start studying it and drop after some time when you see it's not for you. But this isn't the case with you, right? So you actually have practical experience in there. And I've noticed that people don't really go on those three profiles unless they really meant to, they really need it and want to. Am I seeing it the correct way? Because you do have some background and experience about that.
Yes, for me the selection to go into engineering actually was a bit. I wanted to do. I'm definitely a generalist, so I didn't want to do something that's that specific. And engineering has so many disciplines that you can steer your way and navigate through and try different things. And I find this always very exciting.
Couldn't agree more. You remind me of a friend of mine who I had. We actually met in Denmark, and I think she was the first guest of the show because you took your time with the Bachelor. You were working during that time, and you know that mistake that is being made, especially in the younger generation, the new workforce members, when they go to the university and colleges immediately after high school, they don't really know themselves. They don't know what they want, what they're meant to do. And afterwards, immediately have a master's degree. And keep in mind, I'm not against, that thing, because I myself did it. That's how I did it. But I really never had any issue with that. But I'm sure you've noticed it's not only here in Europe that people are actually going right into colleges and universities without, again, knowing what they want. And afterwards, they start jobs that aren't really for them. But because they already graduated something, they have this stigma that now this is my path. In most cases, it isn't. And those type of people kind of live in their like personal living hell, because being constantly unhappy with what you do, but having this mentality that you have to do it because you graduated, that's crippling, and I don't really like it. And I really admire how you took your time and you tested a few fields so you could figure it out. You said that now you're studying a master's degree, and my question is, how'd you get there? So were you like walking the streets of Greece one day and you were like, let's go to Aalborg to have a master's degree?
First of all, could not agree more with what you're saying. You have to experiment and try different things if you want to find what's your path. You cannot just anything you want to do is not linear, never. And for me personally, actually, during my undergraduate studies, it took me a bit longer to finish than the 4 years, because I was very much involved in my family business, which is a clothing store in a tourist area in Greece, in Kardomeli. And I was actually very much involved in this. And for a couple of years, actually, I thought that this would be, this would be my thing, my professional outlook. And I tried it, and I saw that, no, this is not for me. And it was a very important lesson for me to be exposed to this at 19, 20 years old, because I saw some very cleared out path that I choose to not take. And then I got fully involved in my studies. I finished my degree, got good grades, and wanted to see a little bit what's worked for a year and a half in Greece. And then I wanted to sort of, because I had let go of my undergraduate studies after like 1 or 2 years in the middle, I wanted to study again to be fully committed for it. And that's what I've been doing for the last year. I wanted to say, okay, go to Denmark and do 100% only this and be very good at it. And that's what I'm into now.
That's a pretty good thing. I really have to say you're blessed to have that experience at young age, because yes, we all make mistakes, right? Everybody makes mistakes, everybody. But it's good to make that kind of a mistake when you're younger, because you've already learned from that. Imagine making that mistake when you already have family, when you already have children of your own. It's not impossible to recover. Of course it isn't, especially in today's world where the possibilities are so many. It's totally possible, but it'd be more difficult. And it's good that you've learned that lesson at a younger age. Now, my third question is, how did you know that this was the way to go? I love this question because so far I haven't actually received the same answer. And it's really complicated. It's really hard. I know that you can't really give a simple answer, but how did you know that Denmark was the way to go? And how did you know that the specialty that you're currently studying in the university is the one for you? How did you figure it out? Was it a gut feeling? Did you had like a mentor who aimed you over there? What happened?
Well, how did I end up here? Yes, it was more or less a gut feeling on the trajectory that I want to go. So I had the gut feeling that I want to do something completely new, go experience a new culture. I applied for master's degrees only in Nordic countries for this reason. So I want to go culturally, far from Southern Europe and experience something new.
I understand completely, because this is exactly what I did. I graduated here in Southeastern Europe. I went to Denmark in the same university that you are right now to get my master's degree over there. So I completely understand and I relate perfectly.
Yeah. So, but this was my gut feeling for personal reasons, but for technical reasons, I chose to specialize in hydrogen because it is something that I truly believe it's the future, and I've been fascinated with it since I was a little child, actually, because I still remember watching my first exposition to hydrogen technology was when I watched the Top Gear episode about it was a Honda. I don't remember the model, but it was the first commercial hydrogen car, and they were driving it in the streets of California, and they were explaining all the technical details of fuel cell cars, and I said, yeah, this is amazing. This has to be the future. And this kind of stuck with me, and I've had it since I was 10, 11, 12 years old. I don't remember how old I was when this episode came out. And when I found this specialization in Aalborg University, I said, yes, that's it. Actually, before I started looking, I wanted to do a master's in solar panels because I'm really interested in solar power, and I think it's amazing.
I was about to actually ask you about that as a side question, because keep in mind, my only technical experience is holding a flashlight while being yelled at. This is the closest thing I've ever done to car repairment. And so I don't understand much about it. I've never really had it in me. I never had the desire to learn about it. Basically, I'm buying a car, I'm driving it. If it's not okay, I'm throwing it away and I'm buying a new one. That's how I'm yes. Basically like that. So do you honestly believe that the solar energy is the future, and this Tesla model of electricity automobiles, I don't even know how to call them. Do you honestly believe that this is sustainable? And the reason I'm asking is because I recently read an article that in Switzerland they made a special road that's actually charging the battery of the e-cars. And maybe it's an option, but then again, we're talking about Switzerland. And, Nordic countries are one thing, the rest of the world is something completely different. So I honestly can't see this to be implemented in India, in China, in Russia, in all of the United States, South America, which is, pretty big part of the world. So it's a good example, but practically, I don't see how this can happen. Of course, I might be wrong. But I wanted to hear your perspective about this. Do you honestly believe that this will completely nullify the diesel engine?
Well, my personal opinion is that, as we see in renewable energy as well, the transition to renewable energy sort of changes the electricity distribution from centralized and very stable, because there is a supply of fuel that gets transferred into electricity, to distributed and seasonal. So you have to, by definition, to diversify in order to adapt. And I think that's going to happen in automobiles as well. Electric cars are very efficient and very good for cities, but for example, long-haul transport like trains, trucks, will probably have to use another method like synthetic fuels or hydrogen. But electric cars at the moment have a very high momentum of growth. They are not stopping anytime soon.
I wasn't talking about stopping them. That's definitely not what I meant. I was talking about, do you believe that at some point it will completely nullify the diesel engine? Because there's already this talk that diesel engines should be banned here and there after a couple of years, and I don't think we're at this point. So this is what I was really interested in.
I think definitely not 100%, but after a point, they will take the bigger part of the market.
Right.
Wherever there are not very hard technical limitations, I think electric cars will be the way to go.
Well, we should wait and see. It's pretty interesting again because I know very little about it. If it happens, fine. If it doesn't happen, fine. But we do live in very interesting times. As I said, the possibilities are endless. And thank you for with this said. Thank you for being with me. Do you happen to have any advice you'd like to give to the audience? Anything you'd like to say?
I would like to close with an advice. But this is a personal point of view. But I was for a very long time afraid that I don't have a clear path, and I think young people have to embrace the joy of discovery. It's the very famous Steve Jobs quote, like, "Stay hungry, stay foolish," when it's said to Stanford and the graduates. I think this will give young people like me. This gives young people like me a sense of freedom and discovery that cannot be replicated by anything else. So just find your own path and stick with it, but you have to keep trying.
Right on, perfectly said. I couldn't agree more. I've always believed that the comfort zone is something that's not good and not for everybody. That said, again, thank you for being with me. Wish you all the best, man.
Thank you for having me, and yeah, thank you for your time.
Right on. Bye. Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Gap, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.